So I was trying to be this perfect, positive person. And do you know what? That's not me. I'm authentic. I remember saying that we were that small couple, and little did I know what was coming down the line. And I'd seen the issues that both, like my daughters have had with blended families. Fancy him, so forget the dating websites, get yourself on Yellow Page. He adored her. He just, she was on a pedestal and he was so proud of him. I've got something going wrong here. I've had loads of missed calls, and he just fell to the floor and he dropped his phone, and I just knew it was the longest, quietest time in my life. I wanted to say to you, I don't think I can do this. It's not fair. This is not about me. Like, I'm a girl from Stoke-on-Trent, so like, what am I supposed to do? I want it to be about how beautiful she was inside and out. She was the last person you would expect to have done this. So please, please speak to your teenage.
How did that ripple effect the family?
There's no handbook. I'm trying to protect my girls and I'm trying to protect Andy.
Well, you're in that support system. And it can be really hard on you.
So, we were in wedding mode. Sinead was with us. Please, it's okay to talk to people about it. And if they don't want to talk about it, they'll tell you. Have that conversation around suicide. We didn't.
Hello and welcome to Becoming Lucy with me, Hannah.
And me, Lucy. So today's episode is about something that can happen to anyone. A normal family, a normal day, and then a phone call that changes everything. This is a conversation about suicide, but not about the why. It's about what happens after. It's about the ripple effect in a blended family, the grief, the silence, and the guilt of still having your own beautiful daughters. The weight of trying to be the best and the most supportive partner while you are grieving too. And how 5 years later, you're still learning how to breathe inside a life that looks completely different.
It's about the version of yourself that gets put on pause. The strong one, the steady one, that will get through this one. And what happens when you realise you've forgotten who you are underneath it all.
And Liz is someone many of you might recognise as a confident, driven and also accomplished high-performance coach, a leader and a woman who helps others navigate uncertainty. But today, she's here as a partner and she's here as a mum and a stepmom. So Liz, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's an absolute privilege. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, we can't wait to get to understand and dive deep into your story. But before we do that, let's get into how you and Lucy know each other, because there are some connections there, aren't there? So yeah, tell us more.
Go on, Liz, I'll let you roll.
Well, I know Lucy through my daughter, Lucy. We go the same gym. Well, I say we go. I mean, broadly speaking, I probably go once every couple of once a year at the moment, because I'm based in Congleton. We go caveman training in Fenton, but that's where I know Lucy from doing high rocks. And I remember I attempted to do high rocks, and Lucy, I was in the same group as Lucy, and I said to my daughter, "Oh, there's that Lucy." Yeah, God, she's like proper professional, and she's training with Jade Skillen, and look, I'm like, oh my God. And she was ace. And that was the first time I'd really met you, Lucy. I don't know if you can remember it, but
I do, yeah, no, I do remember.
With you, and you were just lovely.
Oh, bless you. No, yes, that was our first time meeting, like I say, at Cave. Definitely changed for me. I can't remember the last time I went up there. Now it's just sometimes to have a socialise. And then also, Liz, I reached out to you for the making of this podcast, wasn't it? Like, literally, how do I start a podcast? Who do I know who's got their own podcast, which we'll probably go into a bit later, but you have got your own podcast, which is the leading role. And I was like, what systems do you use? How do I start? Like, how do I even get on to putting things on Apple and Spotify? And Liz kindly inviting me round and teach me through Riverside. This is what you do. And I was asking all these basic questions. And here we are, months
You
I
later.
know.
So,
And thank you, Liz, for doing that. I remember Lucy talking to me about that when we started discussing the pod, and you were mentioned, and she said how she was getting like taught. And yeah, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be sat here now. So thank you so much for your technical expertise, and obviously for helping get this launched, because we absolutely love doing it, and we are so pleased that we do it. And yeah, Lucy is an editing whiz now, so whatever you taught her, you were
Well,
fantastic.
I'd like to take credit for it, but I think Lucy could show me a thing or two now, to be fair.
Bless you.
Because I'm watching what you're doing, and I'm like, wow, how is she doing that? That's really good.
Oh no, honestly, it's so great that we're able to say our thank yous to you kind of face to face as well. And when you were saying about going to cave and high rocks, at least you gave it a go. I can say I've never stepped foot into that world. And the most exercise I do currently is running around after my 3-year-old and walking my Labrador.
Oh, a Labrador. See, now you're talking my language. I've got a black Labrador, and the girls have said you love him more than you do us, and I would never say that. I would never put that out like, oh yeah, but yeah, this is my bookmark. I've got
Oh.
Labrador,
What's his name?
Arnie.
Arnie.
After,
Well,
I didn't choose his name. It's after Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Andy, my partner's big into his gym, and he loves Arnie.
oh,
So
I love
I wanted
that.
Arnie, but I let him have that.
Compromise.
Yeah.
I like Arnie. Well, mine's Loki, and he's a silver Labrador actually. So yeah, quite a unique colour. And when we started this pod, so Jess, our first guest, it was so funny. We were getting towards the end of the episode, and you could just hear this scratching at the door. And it's like clockwork. You'll probably hear it again tonight. Around about 10 o'clock, you
Yeah.
start scratching at the door. And the first time it obviously happened with Jess, I was like, what the hell? Then he started barking. So me and Lucy, you could see our like terrified faces, because at that point we didn't know if we could edit out barking and what we could do and all this kind of stuff. So like literally I was like, oh my god, this is awful. It was our first episode and Loki's just like messing it all up. Anyway, we've found out you can edit out, which is great. And then yeah, about 10 o'clock every time we film, you can hear him scratching. He's ready to come in to go for a wee. But yeah, no, I agree. It's a beautiful relationship that we can have with dogs, and
Yeah.
they're just incredible, aren't they?
Yeah.
Don't forget the cats. We've got Hamish here. He's listening.
Oh yes,
Baby
yes.
Hamish. Yeah, he might make an
Yes.
appearance. It's normally if I'm talking, he normally pops up, but we'll see. He's been looking at me already tonight like, why are you in your room already? Is it
Yeah.
bedtime? And he's getting on the bed. I'm like, no, I need to get changed. He's like,
Oh, well, I think if Loki and Hamish ever met, I don't know how long that relationship would last for. So we all just show pictures of them. We said that, didn't we, Lucy? We were like, we'll have to like FaceTime them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
right. Now we're just going to end up speaking about labs and Hamish. Honestly, it's going to go on for hours, and we could maybe pick up an animal episode at some point though. Amazing. Well, yeah, let's move on. It's been lovely to find out how you and Lucy met and a little bit about yourself, but let's dig deeper into your incredible story.
Yeah, and obviously before we go into your story, obviously the day that kind of changed everything, you mentioned Andy, your partner, already, and obviously,
And he's
Arnie.
not scratching at the door at 10 o'clock.
So let's start with obviously how you guys met.
Well, I've told him he should contact Yellow Pages about this, because he could get some free advertising. But I actually met him through Yellow Pages. We've both been single for 10 years, and I've been on the dating apps. And, had no luck and all of this. And then I needed some work doing on the house. So I went to Yellow Pages as after a joining. I've actually still got the book somewhere there where I get down to joiners, 3 different joiners that I contacted. And he came and he turned up, and I never forget, it was a Friday. And I looked, I thought, oh, he's really nice. I thought, I bet he's married. Just got those vibes. I don't know if I was totally wrong. And yeah, he came and he gave me a quote, and we're actually on about it yesterday. I said, I still think you overcharged me, you know. He says, don't you what? He says, I actually didn't. And when I was on the job, I was thinking, I haven't quoted enough for this. And he says, and you have actually had a hell of a lot more since then. 3 words. And like, yeah. But yeah, that's how we met. But it took us ages to get together. He when he came to do the work, I was off doing Born Survive at Cape Thorn Hall. So I was like,
Ah.
oh yeah, let you make yourself at home, and off I went. It took us months to get together because after that, I saw him on a dating website, and I was like, oh, be join us on this date. Like, there was nothing. And then I was a bit tipsy coming back from your Tops to Races one night, driving home, and I thought, oh, as you do, texting. And then I felt awful the next day. I was like, oh my God. But eventually we met. And then we got his wires crossed. We were going to have a second date, got his wires crossed. He blames me, I blame him. And it took a while. And so, yeah, we eventually went on the second date, and the rest is history. We've been together. I am rubbish with dates, so we've been together about 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was just COVID was 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was in the January of 2020, and I've left him a brilliant review. He's and I'm like, just those yellow pages, you'd get a right good load of free advertising from that. But that's our messy, that's our fancy. So forget the dating websites, get yourself on yellow pages.
They are loose.
There we are. Is Yellow Pages still going?
Yeah.
How is it? Is it just like online now? 'Cause you used to get the big book.
Yeah, you used to get the literally big yellow book, didn't you?
And it's funny you say that because obviously there was that advert years ago, wasn't there, where he got on the Yellow Pages to kiss the girl. Do you remember? Like
that's what I was thinking of then. Yeah. And obviously you mentioned the pandemic, like what a way to start a relationship, Did you lock down together? I mean, tell us about the blended family part as well.
Question, yeah. So, we met in the January, and, we started to date, and obviously everybody was getting on. It was brilliant. And we went to Liverpool. It was our first weekend away. And I think that was the weekend that I'll never forget, because we've been single 10 years, and we were now a couple, and it just felt it's such a long time to be single, and to finally meet the right person for you. And I remember we went for a drink of wine as soon as we checked into the hotel, and we sat in the hotel, and I was part of it. I was in a couple, and I felt smug, and I used to joke, oh, we're that smug couple. And I remember saying that, we're that smug couple. And little did I know what was coming down the line. But at that time, I thought, I've got it. Life's perfect. Andy got a daughter, Sinead. I got my 2 daughters. Lucy, my youngest, absolutely loved Sinead because she was just that little bit older. Not that Sammy didn't, but Lucy especially, just like, she got the eyelashes going on and the hair and all of that, the social media. I mean, Sinead was stunning. And so life was pretty much perfect. And then, so lockdown happened. And we said, Andy says, well, shall I come stay with you? Because we thought it was only going to be for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know what happened. It was for a hell of a long time. And then, so we really started to live together within about 3 months of meeting, which was not the plan, because we'd been single for so long. We still wanted that. You have your place, I have mine, and all of that. But then it just didn't play out like that. And then, like lockdown happened. It was tough for different reasons. Obviously, my youngest Lucy was still at school, so she was doing schoolwork. I was home based anyway. I was working for Vodafone at the time. I was a part-time coach. I had set up my business, but I wasn't doing it full time like I am now. So yeah, that's a bit of the backstory how me and Andy met.
Oh, amazing. And obviously, like you just mentioned, Lucy, she was obviously living at home with you, and Andy obviously moved in with you, and then he had his daughter Sinead, and obviously had Sammy as well. So obviously with the rules and restrictions, I take it was a lot of getting to know each other via FaceTime and things like that. Did you get involved in the old quizzes? Were you doing family quizzes?
Oh, we did, yeah,
Yeah.
crikey. I've forgotten all about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. We did the family quizzes, walks in the park. That's how we used to meet Sinead, especially.
Oh.
I mean, I was a proper goody two shoes over lockdown. And Andy, bless him, he has the patience of a saint. I'm very outgoing, very bubbly. Andy's very calm, very thoughtful. A very intelligent man as well. He reads a lot. So if anybody ever tried to pull the wool over his eyes, I think, they'd be shocked. But he does it in such a way that he's very quiet. He's one of those, that when they say something, they don't need to say much because they're listening.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's the massive difference, but obviously that works for us. I forgot where I was going with this.
We were just chatting about the blended family and obviously
yeah.
getting to know each other. And obviously you've alluded to Sinead a couple of times, and we're going to go further into what
Yeah.
happened to Sinead. And it sounds like you said you're a smug couple, families are being brought together in a really, really sort of unusual situation as well, because two parents getting together that have got children from obviously, different marriages or whatever, that's a situation in itself, let alone trying to do it during lockdown. So I think it's lovely that you said that you were that smug couple and everything was perfect, and you couldn't imagine anything going wrong, and obviously then it did. So do you want to take us to that day and the day everything
we
changed?
did have its challenges, and I think I was smug as well, because obviously I'd been married before. Me and Andy we haven't got married, but I had been in relationships before, and I'd seen the issues that both, like, my daughters have had with blended families at the dad's side. So I was like, I'm not going to be like that. I've got this sussed. I'm going to be this type of person. And again, I was knocked off my pedestal because life isn't like that, is it? With the best will in the world. So yeah, it was tough. I think it was tough for Sinead. Very, very close to her dad. Like, he is an excellent father. And I say that, they'd have holidays. They go to Tenerife every year, 2 or 3 times. He'd take her. They'd meet every Thursday religiously. He adored her. She was on a pedestal, and he was so proud of her, and quite rightly too. She was an incredible person. But yeah, it was just one day in July, and it was just a normal evening. I'd been put some fake tan on, down, and we got the stir fry, me and Andy. Lucy was out. Restrictions had been lifted the second time round. So me and Andy then had been in our relationship over a year. About 16 months. We tried to book a couple of holidays, the 4 of us, but we had to keep cancelling it because the lockdown restrictions kept changing and things like that. So yeah, it was just a normal evening in July. Came down, sat there eating the stir fry, and then Andy's phone was going, and he goes, like you do, who's this phone? Like, and he picked up his phone, and he says, oh, I've got something going on here. I've had loads of missed calls from my ex. And right, okay. So we're like, he takes the call, and then he goes, what do you mean she's gone? What do you mean, where is she? Now, and this is from my perspective, not from Andy. And I'm like, I clicked in, it was Sinead, and I was like, oh no, I've spoken to Sinead this morning. I've said to her message because she had COVID. She caught COVID, so she was at home. And he just fell to the floor. And he dropped his phone. And I just knew. Don't know how I knew. I can't remember how we heard the news that she died. And it was just like watching an IKEA building collapsing. It was just like that. And it was just a call. Stir fry was still there. You know, I got my face. I was like, it's just all these stupid things, crazy things are going through your head. And the phone was still on the floor, so I had to pick the phone up and speak to Andy's ex. And I asked where she was. And I don't think she realised like that I knew that she died. And she's like, she's dead. I was like, yeah, but where is she? So they told us. And then it all started, you know, to unfold. You know, we drove to a house. It was the longest, quietest time in my life. And I just knew that it just felt like life was over. And that's why I talk about the smug couple, because so when I hear smug couple, I think you shouldn't have been like that. It'd be like, it's like it was a bad thing, smug, bad, you know. Yeah, and then so I wanted to share my story because I think there's so many times I wanted to say to you, I don't think I can do this. It's not fair. This is not about me. But I think what I've learned over the 5 years is that, and I've spoken to Andy about this. He's given his blessing. He's wished me good luck tonight. Men don't talk like women do. And so, yeah, I think it's important when you are caring for somebody, because then I was in a situation that I was like, what do I do? I had no idea. I'm a girl from Stoke-on-Trent. I'm like, nah, what am I supposed to do? And you just navigate it, and it's just like walking on broken glass, because you don't want to offend. You don't know what to say. You know, like life is shattered into millions and millions and millions of pieces. Where'd you start? And then I've got my 2 daughters, and I think now is a good time to come on here, because I don't think I could have come on any sooner. And becoming Lucy, you know, we're going to talk about becoming Liz in a bit. But you could not write this. But my eldest daughter, Sammy, works for the police, and she was in the control room. And she was on duty that night. It was Sammy that took the call.
Jesus.
Wow.
So it was a double whammy. It was like, it was horrendous.
I was just going to say, let's pause there for a second and let's reflect on everything that you've just said, because my heart's breaking for obviously what you and Andy and your daughters, and obviously what was going on with Sinead and Sinead's mum and everything that happened. So obviously, take us back to that moment where Andy collapsed on the floor, the phone was out of his hands, you picked it up, you drove to Sinead's house, and obviously you said it was the longest, quietest drive. What do you remember your emotions at that time and exactly how you were feeling, or was it like a blur?
I think I can remember, and there was a few incidences with the police that I suppose it's not important to go into now, but they weren't compassionate.
Right.
And so there was times where I stepped in, which, you know, and corrected them, you know. I remember that I think deep down inside, I knew I had to step up and I had to be there for Andy. Like I've never had to step up before. When I've seen people and I've run London marathons and things like that, this is another level of stepping up and being courageous.
You were advocating for him, weren't you? And Sinead?
Yeah, exactly, for Sinead. And I think I wanted to do her proud, because I want Sinead's memory not to be about that day. I want it to be about how beautiful she was inside and out. Very caring. So I've lit her candle tonight. That was the last birthday present she brought me. Um, so she's here with us. But I do, there's some important messages that I want to share with somebody else, just in case it helps them. Conversations around suicide, because she was the last person you would expect to have done this.
Because
She
I know you
was
said there was no signs, was there?
no signs, no signs of this. We've all got signs of where we've had a bad day.
Yeah.
And Andy'd seen her the night before, and there was no signs. So if it can happen to her, it can happen to anybody. I remember saying, I met with a friend for coffee a couple of months down the line, and I said, please, please speak to your teenage. And they went, but they're in a great place. Oh no, they could not be in a better place. And I came home and I told Andy, and he went, and darling, that's exactly what I would have said about my daughter.
Yeah. I know you said she was on to big things and stuff. I mean,
Big
what was it
things.
she did, if you don't mind us asking?
She was studying criminology at Staff's Uni.
Right.
She'd handed a dissertation in months before and things like that. She was just a very intelligent woman. You would walk into a room and heads would turn. And like, oh my God. She loved fashion. She loved the people around her. I can't say anything else. She was just, she was perhaps a bit too perfect.
Yeah.
How old was she when she died?
21.
21. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I just wanted to go back to a couple of things that you said. I mean, when you were saying that, your life was just, everything was in control, and then that one phone call shattered everything. And like you said, I'm just a girl from Stoke-on-Trent. Like, it's that realization that your life can change in a second, and
Yeah.
you had no, there was nothing that made you think that it would be as big as this. And obviously then to go from your life just swimmingly moving at a lovely pace, and the pandemic was bad enough, for everyone,
Yeah.
let alone obviously ending it with this, essentially. And you also mentioned about seeing your friend and saying that she needs to check on their teenagers and this, that and the other. I remember watching a documentary on suicide, and the guy, Roman Kemp, I don't know if you know him, he's on Capital, and he's so his best friend committed suicide. And I remember him saying, when you speak to your friends and family and you ask them if they're okay, you need to ask them 3 times. Are you okay? Yes. Are you okay? Yes. No. Are you okay? And he was like, it's only that 3rd time that you might end up getting something out of it. And it just made me think of it when you were talking about what Andy had said and what your friend had said. And it's just, like you said, you're talking to friends and family and you think everything's okay, and it's not. And how do you compute that? I mean, I assume Andy kept beating himself up almost mentally, which he shouldn't have done. But were there conversations that you two were having? Why didn't I see? What was going on? What could I have done? Were those happening?
I think, yeah, it's difficult for me to go into too much detail on that, because I suppose that's for him to say. Naturally, it's very difficult to get out from Andy's perspective, because he's very introspective and he's very, very thoughtful. But I think the impact it's had, like, they used to go to so many concerts together, and he really, struggles to listen to music now. Especially he loves his music, but there's certain songs, certain tracks. They've been, oh, I must be a couple of 100 concerts together, like big,
Wow.
big music fans. I think there were questions, but again, I think this is where it was difficult for me, because as a mum, we're coming at it from a woman's perspective, aren't we? I want questions. What's happened? Why? Andy always comes back to you, but it's done now.
Mm.
So I can't change anything. So he doesn't. And it's kind of like, he's got a lot of questions, but he'll never get all the answers anyway. So it's how
Mhm.
to deal with it now.
About like the ripple effect in your family then, because obviously you've got Lucy who's quite young, you've got Sammy
Yeah.
who took the call that day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know we've spoke obviously privately, and you said you held a lot of guilt because you still
Mm.
got your daughters as well. So
Yeah.
how did you process that? Do you know what I mean? You still got your daughters. You felt guilty for having them, but obviously it's great that you've got them.
Mm.
How did
Mhm.
that ripple effect affect the family? Was it spoken about? Do you still speak about Sinead? Was it hard because it was done? Like how was it?
I think that's been like the biggest challenge really since this, apart from obviously the loss. Yeah, and I still hold guilt. Now, it's not as bad. It's nowhere near
Mm.
as bad, but crikey, it was horrendous at the beginning, birthdays. Um,
Yeah, because I know you mentioned about Lucy's 21st as well. It's like
yeah,
something you want to celebrate, but it's
yeah,
also how old Sinead was. But then you can't take that away from Luce, can you? You want to
no,
create those
Yeah.
memories.
yeah.
So did you speak about Sinead on that day to make it more like comfortable? Do you know what's your
Um,
best advice for maybe another family who's blended who
the
might be in
thing
that
I've learned
situation?
is there's no handbook. So
Yeah.
even this year's anniversary, we didn't get it right in the
Mm.
way that we went out for a meal. It was in honour of Sinead. We went to Nando's because that's where she used to love to go.
Mhm.
We loved there. And we never spoke about it. We didn't
Mhm.
speak. And then my daughter was like, we didn't speak about Sinead. And then Andy's like, we didn't speak about Sinead. And I'm in the middle. And I was like, I turned to them all and I went like, there's no handbook with this.
Mm.
It's okay. If you want to talk about it, talk about it. If you don't, don't. I think the biggest thing we've done that's helped us is talk.
Mhm.
But it's been really awkward. I mean, you can tell by my body language,
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
finding it. Because it's like we don't really row, me and Andy. We're like dead polite because I default to when his daughter's died. So what can be
Mm.
any worse than that? He's lost his daughter. So, you're fed up that he hasn't taken the bin out, but his daughter's dead, and I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
the smallest of things. So it wasn't like a natural relationship. It was very textbook type, like just very much on the surface.
Mm.
Now we're 5 years down the line and we've navigated it and we actually will have a round now. It's
Let off
not,
some steam.
it's not like, I mean, I don't think arguing is the answer anyway, but when you're like, just really want to speak your mind.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think talking us out the door, I mean, my daughters have been massively supportive. I mean, it's affected them both in different ways. So, and the guilt I felt, I was talking to my friend the other day about it. I tried to phone Sammy to tell her that night, but she just texted me back saying, I'm at work. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh my God. So I had to text her. So then you're wrapped in guilt. Because who tells you the right thing to do when you're breaking the news
Yeah.
that somebody's died? It's like,
And did she already knew then at that point because she took the call or she didn't know who it was, but when she
it's all
connected the dots, she
connected.
realised.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow, that is just sort of some indescribable turn of events, isn't it?
yeah,
Who would have thought that her stepsister would be on the other end of that call
yeah,
in? And
yeah.
obviously you did mention that had an impact then obviously on Sammy. Did she find it harder to talk about it because she was at work and she took the call? Did she have a layer of guilt that she felt, even though again she shouldn't? How did she cope with being the one that took that call?
Yeah, I think she did feel guilt because it was just work. It's just what she does, you know. And then she was busy sending people out, and it was a busy shift, and she just wraps herself in guilt about that, which is crazy because she wasn't to know.
No, she's doing her
Um,
job. Yeah.
yeah, and we all feel guilty because in hindsight, what was there something we could have done?
Mm.
And you ask yourself a million questions. Was it because me and Andy got together? You know, and she'd been so used to, you know, having a dad all the time, and it wasn't. We know it wasn't.
Mm.
She was really, really pleased, and you know, we all got on really well. But you ask so many different questions, and Andy's very good actually at coming back to it doesn't change anything. It's
Yeah.
what you do afterwards. And I think he's been quite a good role model in a way with it, because like how he's carried on is, you know, has been incredible. But there's been some times where, like we said about the ripple effect, that not wanting to upset anybody, not knowing
Yeah.
what to say, just always, always, always walking on eggshells, like you don't want to offend. Um, you know, any going out for a meal or the slightest thing, you'll be reminded of it. And it's literally the only way I always describe it is like sometimes as a partner, when for me, I'm trying to protect my girls and I'm trying to protect Andy. It's like being in a pinball game, you know, the
Yeah.
ball banging about, and every time you get a blow, and it just knocks, it bruises you that little bit more.
Yeah.
That scar that's there. You know, and we felt anger as well. You know, I absolutely, you know, standing at a graveside, we shouldn't be there. We should not. We shouldn't be there. And it does make you angry. I hate to see the person I love having to do those things, but I think the key thing is as well, what we missed was nobody would want to talk to us. I think
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
one friend that stood by us, and every time I went out with that friend for a drink, it would end in tears. And I used to worry because I used to think, she's not going to want to go out, because it was the same story.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do we do? How do we get through this? And I'd have a drink, and I'm not a big drinker, but I would have a drink, and obviously the drink would fuel it. And you know, she was brilliant. She would listen, she really would. But we needed more than one friend.
Yeah.
And I think one of the key things I would say, if anybody's watching this, if somebody you know has lost somebody, regardless of how it is, ask them, let them talk.
Yeah.
You know, just let them talk, because we want to talk.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I can
Andy
imagine how
found,
hard. Like,
pardon?
I was going to say, it must be so hard that, again, I've had friends that have passed, and you send those condolences, you send those cards, you knock on the door, and then they don't answer, and then you just kind of think, oh, they want to be left alone. But one thing that obviously struck me with yourself, Liz, is when you said you're like a pinball machine, and you've got obviously Andy, whose obviously daughter it was. I know you're kind of like the stepmom kind of thing, but how hard it must have been in your head. Like you said, women naturally overthink anyway. You ask all these questions, the whys, the whats. You're trying to protect your own two daughters. You're treading on eggshells with Andy because you don't want to say the wrong thing. No wonder you're in tears every time, you went
Yeah.
out. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people will forget, how much support you need. Do you know what I mean when you say about these friends? Because I'm getting emotional now just thinking of you in that situation, because I think it's easy to forget that everyone's always concentrating on the main parents, where you're in that support system,
Yeah.
and it can be really hard on you. So sorry.
No, thank you. No, I know, because it makes me feel seen, Lucy. So thank you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. I think, and that's what I've struggled with the most, saying how I feel, because you know, I'll always say to Andy, but it hadn't happened to me. I haven't lost my daughter. He goes, but you've lost Sinead, you know, and
Yeah.
he's been the most understanding of it all. And I think with being a coach, I remember somebody saying to me, you're a coach, you should have the answer to everything. And that stuck with me for a while. So I was trying to be this perfect, positive person. And do you know what? That's not me. I'm authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the reasons I wanted to come on was to say, we all struggle. We've all got our struggles. And we have to remember that people have got shit going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's a bit off with you, or maybe they didn't respond in the way, you know, I'm a bugger for doing like, what's up with them? Funny buggers. But deep down, they've got something going on, you know.
Yeah.
We've all got something going on. I think my background in coaching has helped a lot to keep moving forward. We've pushed ourselves forward. So we moved house about a year later. We're now in Congleton, and we just needed it. We were selling the house at the time. We took it off the market, and then a few months passed, and we said, I said to Auntie, we've got to keep moving forward. We've got to keep moving forward. And a big believer of bringing good into your life. I actually believe just keep bringing good. It cancels out or dissolves that bad a bit. But there have been times when I have felt hope gone. I really have. And I think the key things, there's been times when my eldest has lifted me. There's been times when my youngest has lifted me. And there's been times when I've needed to lift them. And Auntie's then lifted us. But like I said earlier, there's so many times I wanted to reach out and say, I feel really bad coming on talking about how I am. Because it hasn't. It's Andy that's lost his daughter. But actually, no, you know, it is a big thing that's been going on in my life. I think there's probably other partners maybe caring for somebody, or maybe they're married, or, you know, they're having to look after somebody, and they get forgotten a bit, don't they? And I think
And I hope that you feel validated, because you should do, because regardless of any connection, when someone loses someone that they know, that they love, that emotion is raw to them. Regardless of how close that person was, it will touch someone in a different way than it will someone else. And that emotion is real, is relative, and it should never be seen as something that isn't. So I feel so sad that you felt like you couldn't talk about how you were feeling, because not only were you a real big part of Sinead's life, you're carrying her dad through the toughest part of his, as well as supporting your own daughters. So there is a huge mental load that you're carrying, and you're dealing with your own grief. So I just feel sad that it's taken you this long to realise that your feelings are completely valid. And I hope that there's a little bit of therapeuticness coming your way, and that maybe you can explore this further. You know, you've said you're a coach, but you need someone to coach and help you, rightly so, you know. So reach out to those support systems, you know, get some therapy, whatever you think's going to help you, and don't shy away from how you're feeling, because you said that talking has been really helpful. And I'm picturing you in the kitchen table encouraging Andy to talk, encouraging Lucy to talk, encouraging Sammy to talk, and everyone else, but you're not encouraging yourself to talk. And I can imagine you've held that in, and secretly you are grieving, and it's so tough for you, but you want to make sure that you're that person, like you said, that you can wrap your arms around them and give them a hug when they need it, but you need that as well. So, you know, that's what I want you to take away from this, that you are completely, your feelings are validated so much right now. And you've been incredible to Andy and your daughters and anyone else that's needed you. So kudos to you.
Thank you. And I am, and I've had therapy. We did go, all of us have therapy as soon as it pretty much happened.
Mm.
It was too soon. It
Yeah.
was way too soon, but it's what we needed to do at the time. And I think the 5 years have taught us a lot. I can't believe how I feel like, not that we're coming through it, but I certainly feel as if I'm evolving. I have lost myself over the last 5 years, and I've only just realised it.
Mm.
Maybe I've only had time now to start realising it, as I can see other people in the family who were blooming. So we had my eldest daughter's wedding last year.
Mm.
So, we were in wedding mode. Sinead was with us. We got a little initial made and put it in Andy's pocket, button pocket, what's the name? I can't.
Buttonhole.
Yeah.
And, I was a little bit nervous about that because she would have been there. She would have been a bridesmaid. But it was a great day. And there was I'd felt like no darkness that day. And it was great just to celebrate Sammy and her husband Adam. And, it was perfect. I think these things do take time, Hannah. I think what I've learned is stop trying to be the perfect. And it's okay to be
Perfectly unpolished. That's how me and Lucy describe this podcast, and you are
Yeah.
welcome to be that way as well.
Yeah, definitely.
When you were just mentioning then, like, certain milestones, there's always going to be firsts, and when you've lost someone, there's always that like anxiety. First Christmas, first birthday, first wedding, and there's always going to be some kind of celebration that you're like, oh, can we celebrate this because a core person is missing? And I think there's a lot of people that are that sort of secondary person, like you said, partner, that's supporting the person that it's directly happened to. And that kind of wondering what to do. Do we say anything? Do we not? And that must be so draining, mentally, to be wondering, like you said, what to say and what's the right thing to do. And what advice would you give to anyone that's in your position then, whether it's a partner who's lost a family member, a best friend, and maybe not even a partner, maybe just a support network, if they're that kind of default person that person who's lost someone is going to, what advice would you give to them to make sure that they don't take 5 years and don't feel like they should be validated? What would you say to them?
I think I would say follow your intuition, because there is no rule book with this. We're all different and we all handle it in different ways. But whatever works, whatever feels right for you is the right thing. Talking is, for me, one of the key things to do. I was lucky I've got that one friend, but she lives in Newark. So we don't see each other as often as we would like, but I know she's always there at the end of the phone. So, if you've got people that you can talk to, then tell them you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, look, I want to talk. One of the main goals this year for me is to reconnect with women friends, which I started to do in earnest. And, talk about, where my head's at, but not just talk, but be honest with how I'm feeling. Not just, and being okay with being honest about it as well. So, even now there's been a couple of things we've had to have a discussion about because the anniversary's just passed, and as difficult as it was for me, because I got that default of, yeah, but his daughter's died. Yeah, his daughter's died, but that doesn't mean you haven't got needs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's continuing that sentence of saying, yeah, but and this. So whatever you're feeling is okay. That's what I'd be saying. If you can talk to people, but if somebody does come to you, I think this is the important thing. If somebody does come to you, don't feel you've got to have all the answers. Just listen.
Mm.
Just listen. That's all we need. Just don't give me answers.
Yeah.
Don't give me your advice, because that's your advice. I just want you to listen and
Yeah.
empathise and give me space. And don't shy away. Ask them if somebody's lost somebody. It is okay to ask them how they're doing. You know, Andy works in he's a joiner, so he's male dominated, and the odd occasion where he has mentioned, I think it was a friend of his was going to New York, and he says, "Oh, I went there with Sinead," and he said the room went silent. He's like, I want to talk about when I went to
Yeah.
New York, whether it's one of the best holidays. So honestly though, would I have been that person? That's all very well for me to say, because I've been in this situation. So I want to reach that person who is that smug couple that nothing really bad has happened. Like, please, it's okay to talk to people about it. And if they don't want to talk about it, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
You're just
And
too jet, you know?
Andy saying the holiday to New York with Sinead, that was his opener to say. Someone say, "Oh, what did you do with Sinead?" Like, that sounds like a
Yeah.
great time, you know?
Yeah.
But it's grief and death and loss. It's such a hard topic, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere we look. There is someone that's lost someone, or you see about it, you hear about it, you read about it, a friend of a friend. You know, even this conversation that we're having now, it is everywhere, but still that conversation you end up having with someone, it's that like invisible stickiness that you're like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? And I think obviously what you've just said is hopefully just highlighting that, you know, as someone that's in it, that's been through it, that's experienced it, you're highlighting that just ask us
Yeah.
about it, let us talk, give us the space, and we'll soon, like you said, stop if it gets too much.
Yeah.
And letting the emotion out, you know, at the time always feels horrible, but on reflection, you know, the physiological effect that has on your body, and then mentally, it's incredible. So you've got to be able to let that out, and if you're holding it all in, it's going to make that recovery even longer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think I delayed the process personally because I have had other people to think about. And then what I've also done is I did a couple of boot camp challenges, fitness with a personal trainer. So I chucked myself into that. And I kind of now in hindsight am realising that maybe I was avoiding dealing with what I needed to deal with and avoiding speaking out. But I think it was because I think I feel safer now because I know everybody else is in a better place,
Yeah.
really, because the girls have had huge challenges navigating this, and they've had their life challenges as well. So, Lucy decided what career to take. It's had a big impact on her, not taking her GCSEs, going straight into lockdown. A lot of that year, a couple of years of students are still, coming to terms with the things that happened in lockdown. And so, not only have we had the grief, we've had life challenges to deal with, family dynamics and relationships and things like that. And so it's just all, you haven't got that capacity as much as you would normally because your head's full. So you've only got about that much capacity for life in general. But yeah, going back to me, I feel like I can breathe now. And I'm starting to bring boundaries in for me. And like, no, this is my time. Whatever that is, it's hard. It's really difficult. But also being honest, so like coming on here now, the time is perfect. I probably wouldn't have done it before because I wouldn't have been ready. But for me to be vulnerable and honest about where I'm at is a huge step for me. But other tips I would say, going to what we've learned from Sinead, is, if you have got a loved one, and we won't say daughter, it could be anybody in your life, a loved one, and you're asking them if they're okay. Like you said, ask them 3 times, nag them, keep on at them, bang on that bedroom door, or go round the house, or just stalk them. Now, be that pain. It's okay to be that pain and get on at them and have that conversation around suicide. We didn't. It never entered our heads. Like we kept saying, when did it become an option? When did this? And you know, the crazy thing was when we were waiting for the inquest and waiting to hear from the coroners again. I'm talking as if I'm some type of expert. I'm no expert. It's just what I've learned. It took ages, and that's because there was that many deaths day after day, and we joined a club that we didn't want to join. So nag them, get on at them. Don't feel, oh, I've asked them, they said they're all right. How many times have we heard people say that? You know, but also have that conversation around suicide, because we didn't, because it never entered our heads. And, you know, the sad thing is, perhaps if I was watching this podcast and I was still in that small couple, I'd be thinking, well, that's never going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it could. It could. So
And what would
have that
you,
conversation.
yeah, and what would you say? Because obviously what I'm learning from this is just a whole mindset shift as well, because we spoke about obviously the fear of other people not wanting to say stuff, like when Andy brought up, oh, I went to New York, and not, your brain obviously just goes into pure fear mode, doesn't it? It's that fear, it's that anxiety. You remember the last thing, you don't remember the happy memories to obviously ask about. So that's obviously what I'm learning from that. And I think it's kind of, again, I know from your coaching, Liz, and listening to your podcast, it's kind of like that self-belief and what's best to do. And and we've done other podcasts where we've listened more about how, I mean, Daryl's is coming out tomorrow, how your body affects you more than your mind and how it's reacting. But what would you say to families? Because I think as soon as you say to me now, talk about suicide, I wouldn't know where to start. Do you know what I mean? How do you bring that up without having that fear of bringing that up, that someone wouldn't shut down to hide it, do you think, to then open them up? Is there anything that you've been recommended? Is there any community groups or anything where people could probably look into?
Well, we went community groups and we hated it.
Right.
So, I think you've just got to do, again, some people get a lot from it. We did not. We hated that. But for others it would work. I think, again, if I got the benefit of hindsight now, I would be going back into my house and I'd be going, I've just watched this podcast and this woman is like talking about our stepdaughter. Oh, it was so sad. But I want the message to be about the problem doesn't go away. All you're doing is passing that problem on to us and giving us a life sentence. It feels like a life sentence because now we're left to deal with it. And I know people say for that moment, that person, they're not thinking rationally. So you've got to appeal to that person when they are in a rational state. So, like, my girls know that it's not the answer because they've seen the effect that it's had, that ripple effect on everybody.
Yeah.
That's come into contact. Even my friends. My friend was saying on Monday, I'll never forget getting the text. And I've never sat and asked her how she felt about that. You know, when I thought, gosh, even she's affected by it. Of course she is. You know? And it's like, it's not the answer.
Yeah.
And it's that, if I was going now back in to talk to my 21-year-old, I'd be saying, God, you know, I'd be talking about the ripple effect, how actually it's not moving that problem.
Yeah.
It's not sorting that problem out for that person. You're just passing it on to you, whoever. Because, okay, they might feel a bit guilty. Well, it's worth it, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
they're still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that we will obviously definitely be sharing kind of groups and
Yeah,
helplines and everything like that in the bio to make
yeah,
sure that people can reach out to those professional bodies if they need that help. And like we've always said, if this can reach even one person to suddenly go, okay, I have had thoughts of this, I'm now realizing the ripple effect and what
yeah,
it could mean and how it's going to just shift to my loved ones. And some people don't feel they've got loved ones either. Some people feel very isolated, which is
mm,
why that's the choice they want to make. But there will always be someone that will know of
yeah,
you, and what is or could happen is going to affect them. And it's not about not doing it because you don't want to affect someone. It's about knowing that you deserve to be on this earth and deserve to
yeah,
be helped and looked after. And even if you're in the deepest, darkest place right now, there is always that tiny light at the end of the tunnel that will shine
mhm,
brighter once you
mhm,
start to build up and get that help. And I think when you was talking earlier as well, just about navigating these last 5 years, what does your day to day look like now then? How is your grief compared from then to now? What is that shift that you feel that are in this space that you can talk about it? Like, how does your life look now?
I think the grief shows up in peaks and troughs. So, like, the anniversary, I felt really low. Like, I probably didn't want to go Nando's if I'm
Mm,
brutally honest, because I didn't want to be in that situation, but it was something that was suggested, it was well meant. And again, you do it for Andy, don't you know, that's my default. So it's peaks and troughs, and then it kind of lifted the next day, and it kind of lifted the next day because I started to be open and do what I've been saying earlier,
mm,
start to be really honest with where I'm at. And some days are better than others,
mm,
which is great, which is really good because um it could just kill you inside. Although you're here, you'd just be like a shell, it
mm,
just eat away at you. Um I I'm creating more capacity for life now in my head. That's how I see it. Creating boundaries. I have actually stepped away from a bit from social media at the moment because I'm creating some headspace for me as to how I continue with chapter 5 of my life. But then you just get just those little knocks that
mm,
come. Times the knocks are heavier than others.
mhm,
It can be, I hear a song
mm,
and you take them right back. We could be watching telly and we see a suicide scene.
mhm,
And it's brilliant how I think on TVs that they warn you now
mhm.
because it helps us. It's,
Yeah.
and you can hear it on the news. You hear celebrities who have died recently and you just right back to that night, their hours came crashing down and yeah, but we talked about my Labrador earlier.
Mhm.
He's built a massive hole for all the three of us. Sammy's a cat woman like you, Lucy. The doors. And we are now, me and Andy went back to Liverpool that first weekend that we had, where we fell
Oh.
in love.
Oh.
We went back 2 weeks ago and took a photograph. Um, pretty damn proud of what we've navigated.
Mhm,
We're still together, which is a miracle because
mhm,
we're not married. There's no reason really. We could have, we have discussed life. Would life be easy? But I've never known a love like it.
Aw.
Oh.
Because it's been something we've had to work at.
Yeah.
Um, like I say, he gave me his blessing tonight before I came in. I definitely feel as if I've got hope again. And when
Good.
I said about the helplines, let me be clear. I was on about the grief helplines, grief clubs.
Mm,
I think Papyrus, Young Minds, Samaritans, incredible charities, and we've done work with them. We joined Three Dads Walking. We went and joined them on their first walk. We're massive advocates of them. So if anybody is struggling, they're just three of incredible support lines. And honestly, I've used the Samaritans in the past. I think they're amazing. I'm not shy about sharing that. This is before Sinead. This is just to navigate a family Christmas that I didn't want to go. I was like, I can't cope with them. I can't cope. And they were brilliant. I mean, I know I make wax, but
I know, but it's funny.
It was the way you said it was brilliant.
But they were brilliant, you know, and they get you from you thinking everything's against you to, oh, it's not that bad, is it really? Okay, I can carry on. So I would be, those support lines are brilliant. But I very much realise, Hannah, that I have got to continue putting boundaries in place. And I have got to get back to being imperfect, because that's what I was all about. That I'm not perfect. I have got things going on, and that's okay.
No,
For sure.
definitely. And with that, obviously, you know, as we've just spoke about, moving on with life, not being perfect, making sure you got boundaries and doing things for you, Liz. I know obviously we spoke privately, but in this episode you said obviously you worked at Vodafone at the time. You've just started a sideline business. I mean, life is too short. Do you think this pushed you in any way further to say, do you know what, I'm going from a dream. I'm going to, you know, teach people. I mean, you've taught some, you know, world class, and you've been a leadership coach for them. Do you know what I mean? You've got your own podcast now. You're a life coach on top of that as well. I mean, talk us through that. Was it just like, you know what, I'm going for it?
I think, well, to be honest, I think that's where I'm at now. So,
Right.
I think there's something new coming for me, and I'm taking the time to figure out what that is. I always have grabbed life with both hands. Like last year, I started cold water swimming, and I'm always happy to, you know, to push myself, but I think I haven't perhaps pushed myself as much the way that I probably have done previously before we lost Sinead, because my focus has had to be somewhere else. I mean, I'm always looking for the next new project. I love 70s furniture, so I know I look like I'm sitting in a 70s.
Retro, we love it.
So I don't know whether it's going to be taking that further, because I love it. I love my dog. So I'm thinking about, could I be a professional dog handler, because I'm taken to it and I get so much from it. I don't know. And that's okay as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I completely
I'm
agree.
okay with that.
Yeah, that's
Like,
exciting though, isn't it? Like it doesn't think things haven't got to be prescriptive. And I'm saying this and wanting to take my own advice right now, because I am very much the opposite. I would love to be more spontaneous and less of an overthinker and less of a worrier and less of a things need to be planned meticulously. And obviously they're day to day, it's not like that, but in general, you know, I'm very much like, oh, I need to make sure I know what's happening. I would love just to wake up and just be like, oh, what's going on today then? And I think this conversation, you know, puts that perspective and that mind set back a gear. And because, like you've said, it could happen to anyone, and anyone and everyone is going through shit. And you don't know what day or when or if it will just go in a different direction, better, worse, something that you've never expected. And it's about living in the moment, being present, spending time with people that you want to spend time with, or animals, and just literally living life, isn't it? And these conversations are just so humbling because you just get a chance to just go, right, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to start again. And I'll probably have a little bit of a day tomorrow and go, well, I'm going to wake up the next day and start again. But it's like just knowing that there hasn't got to be, you know, a definite for anything. And it's just like you said, there's more to come from you. You know, watch this space. You don't know what that's going to be, but you feel like you've got some direction. And I think that's amazing. And I think it perfectly leads us to our last question of who is Liz becoming now?
Well, I've still got to finish chapter 5, haven't I? I've got a couple of years, and I feel like it's been, you know, when you pick up a book and you're just stuck on a chapter and you just can't finish this chapter, and that's where I'm at now. I've started to pick that book up, and I don't know, and that's the exciting thing. It's going to be, I'm going to be that person that when I'm on my dog walk is going to check out that new route, because I walk past that every day and I never go and check it out. All I know is this: every time I go to bed, I want to be able to answer, have I lived my life to the fullest, doing what I want to do, being with the people I want to be? And that answer has to be yes. And that's, if it's not, then that's when I'll think, right, okay, what can I do tomorrow to do that? So it's bringing more fun, more adventures for me and Andy, for the girls, getting rid of the guilt. That's one thing. That's one thing that's going right through the door. And like we say, it's just, okay, how do we end chapter 5 and start chapter 6?
Love that. Love it so much. And here's to Sinead as well for obviously always being a part of you. Like you said, you've got your candle lit for her and she's absolutely watching over you and channeling this with you and supporting you every step of the way. And I can't wait to see more and you to let us know what goes on in the next chapter.
Yes, definitely. I will. Thank you, guys. It's you've made me feel really at ease and I feel really seen. And thank you for remembering Sinead at the end. That's lovely. Thank you.
No, and like I say, it's a reminder, obviously, to check in with loved ones and friends. And remember Hannah's advice to ask 3 times. And if you have to sit with silence in the room until they answer you, you know what? You might. It's not even just about saving a life. It's just making someone's day in the end, isn't it? And knowing that you're there for support. So yeah, Liz, thank you for your honesty.
Yes.
Again, I think I've took a lot from this. Even my legs are shaking at the moment. Just like the whole mindset of things, how to question and, you know, people and make sure they're okay. And also, like you say, living life to full. It's fine not to have a plan. And I know everyone thinks I'm woo-woo, but it is the year of the horse. You don't need to know what we're doing and go with the flow and just do what you bloody enjoy. If you know you had a plan that day and it's raining, you can't go for a walk, and you know what? I quite like drawing when I was a kid, or you know, or reading a book, or just doing something. Just do again what your body feels doing and go with it.
Do what makes you happy and don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, thank you so much, Liz, for coming on here. And you've mentioned a couple of times that, you know, you're now sort of feeling ready. And we are so grateful that you've chosen us to kind of share your story with. Honestly, we know it's not been an easy decision. And we're super grateful that Andy's had your back throughout this as well. And yeah, what a great man, what a great relationship. And yeah, long live Andy and Liz.
Check out Yellow Pages.
Yes, exactly.
Check out Yellow Pages. I wonder if Andy actually knows what the spark was, though, unlike Rob. It'd be good to see that. But again, if anyone wants to see what Liz does at the moment with her leadership coaching, we'll obviously share from her website, her socials, and everything else there as well. But on behalf of that, if you like what you hear today, again, it's free. Like, subscribe, support us, and we can have more amazing guests who can resonate with hopefully our listeners and our watchers on YouTube like Liz, and bring you more stories. So on that note, I will say goodbye from myself.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Goodbye from Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you.